Kicking the Myths.
Hi. We'd like to talk to you a little bit about what we call kicking the myths in karate. And what happens in karate is that there's a lot of fraudulent techniques and fraudulent things that are shown to the public with them thinking that there's something really happening. I think probably the best example of this is if you've ever watched a karate demonstration and a guy breaks a big old pile of cinder blocks with his hand or his head or his fist. Well, there's tricks behind that. There's reasons that it works, and it doesn't have necessarily to do with skill. What we're going to do is we're going to show you a little clip here. And what this clip is going to show you is an older gentleman laying down on a bed of nails. He's going to put a bunch of big old cinder blocks on his stomach, and somebody's going to take a sledgehammer and slam those cinder blocks into his stomach and break the cinder blocks. And of course, he's laying on a bed of nails. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to explain to you the trick behind that. And it's not something that really anybody could do. The reason that this is a trick, and I'll tell you what, let's let you see the clip first, and then I'll talk to you about it.
There's the ominous bed of nails with an apple stuck in it. And of course, this is in a stadium with about 15,000 people crammed packed in here. And this is very dramatic, and he's doing all his tension stuff and getting ready and breathing and developing his musculature. And when he did these breaks and these demonstrations, the crowd of 15,000 people just jumped and screamed, and they thought it was the most amazing thing they ever saw. And there he is laying down on the bed of nails. And of course, they put these big, huge slabs down, and here it goes. And amazingly enough, he gets up from this bed of nails and does a backflip.
Now, what you just saw in this clip was this gentleman laying down on this bed of nails. Well, if you look closely, and you really can't see very well, but what happens, this bed of nails is a solid, flat strip of nails. There's a lot of nails on there, and if one nail was sticking up, and of course he laid down on that, it would go right through his back. But because they're all exactly the same level, when he lays down on it, it's almost like laying down on the floor. Nothing is going to puncture his back because all of the nails are exactly the same height. He throws an apple down on there for a little extra emphasis. And then, of course, he lays down and puts all these big old cinder blocks on top of his stomach, and they hit it with a sledgehammer. Well, cinder blocks are really held together with air. It's not held together with any magic material. They're not that difficult to break. But what happens is when that sledgehammer hits it, of course, they're going to shatter. And no matter who lays there, whether you've got experience or not, those cinder blocks are going to shatter. And then no matter who lays there, whether you have experience or not, those nails won't penetrate that back. Now, what I'm going to do is, every episode of Kinney Karate World, I'm going to explain to you some of the different things that go on in a karate breaking situation, which sometimes is fraudulent. For example, let me show you another clip here.
As we talked about it before, this is the same event. And he's taking arrows and plunging them into his body. And the arrows, of course, are shattering. And the crowd just can't believe this. And they're screaming and yelling and applauding. And it's really the most amazing thing they ever saw.
Now, I'm going to run that clip for you one more time. And as you see this clip running, take a look at how he handles that arrow. He's holding that arrow, and we run this slow motion for you. If you see this running slow motion, what's he doing? He's bending that arrow towards his face. And that's why it breaks. So if you do it slow motion, he takes that arrow, it looks like he's pushing it right into his throat, and that his throat is iron hard, and because his throat is so hard, the arrow shatters. But when you watch it slow motion, look what really happens to that arrow.
Now he's sticking it in his throat, and he just bends it up. Watch. Watch how he bends the end of the arrow up. And of course, look where it breaks, of course, where he bends it. So he's holding it with his chest, holding it with his teeth. Watch. Turn the arrow up, and boom, it shatters. Now, he just is breaking a coconut. Watch how he lifts the coconut up right before he breaks it. Watch. Of course, that's how the coconut broke. The next break here is another example of just throwing his hands out. Anybody could really hit those boards and break them. There's no real skill in what he's doing there. There's spacers in between each board. You can see a chopstick in between each board. Now, this crazy guy, watch this. He's going to hit it again. Can you believe this? Now, there's spacers in between each one of those cinder blocks. So when you hit the top one, which is made out of air, of course, the other ones hit each other, and like a domino effect, they break downward. And there's no big deal to this either. He's taking his elbow, driving it straight down into glass. These are the type of slats of glass you find on screen doors. It looked real good, didn't it? And he goes over to the judges and shows his arm. Of course, look, there's spacers in between the boards. Very easy to break. You just give it a little tap, and the first board hits the second board.
On our next segment of Kicking the Myths in the Karate World, we're going to talk to you a little bit more about World Championship titles and what they really mean.